Right, what I'm going to do, because I have actually had quite a lot of requests now to make certain videos, and one common theme, funny enough, with me living in a van,
You live in a van!
people want to know how to build a camper van, whether it be certain parts, the electrics, the water, the gas, the insulation, whatever it is. A lot of people are asking me about the actual camper van itself, because it looks like quite a few of you guys are interested in living this free lifestyle, and I would recommend it. First, before we continue, remember people, bosh, gratitude is everything. Let's be thankful for the life that we live. We continue. What I'm going to do, I've decided I've got 6 or 7 videos coming up. I've got my trusted notepad as always. But what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to share with you guys what you need to build a camper van. Because these things are often overlooked or not looked into at all. And actually it's very important. They're very simple, but you do need to think about it, because then you can decide ultimately whether this is actually going to be worth the pursuit for you, whether you can take on this endeavour. Jumping straight into it. There are 7 things, as far as I know, that you need in order to build a camper van. As you guys probably know, I lived in London for 18 months. In the van that's behind me, I turned it from an empty shell into a full camper van. I'm now travelling the world. I'm sharing this with you guys to hopefully help as many of you as possible. First of all, number 1, the first thing that you are going to need is a van, funny enough. Now, there are many different camper vans that you can buy. I'm not here to tell you which type of camper van. I'm hopefully going to share some things in this video that's going to at least make you think a little bit. Then you can decide what's right for you. I'm 6'4". I bought a Luton, a VW Luton Crafter. The reason that I bought that and not your typical Mercedes Sprinter or your medium wheelbase vans is because of the height. I used to have a fish and chip business, and I was working in my catering van that was about this high, and I had to bend my head the whole time, and I spent basically 3 years of my life serving people like this, and it screwed up my neck. You need to think about what's right for you. The reason I went with a Luton is because they're really tall in the back. It's perfect. I can still stand up. There's no problem. There's 2 of us. There's me and my girlfriend. This is a box van. You get more space. We've got a bathroom, a kitchen, a full-size double bed, all this kind of stuff. But ultimately, you decide what's right for you. Is there just you? Is there 2 of you? Do you want to cook? Do you want a bathroom? Are you okay just showering in the lakes or whatever else that you see? You can decide that. But that's the first thing that you're going to need. You are going to need to buy a van. The second thing that you are going to need in order to build a camper van, you are going to need a place to build it. Now, these may sound obvious to some, but it's often stuff that people don't think about. I was living in a church ground whilst I built this van. Fortunately, they allowed me to build the van. I was working a full-time job, 9 till 5. I'd come home in the evenings. I'd build the van every single evening for 18 months until it was complete. But I obviously had the space, I had the capability, and I had the right place that would allow me to build the van. So you need to think about, where are you going to store your van whilst you build the van. The third thing on the list that you are going to need, you're going to need tools. Now, you can obviously rent tools, but a lot of tools like screwdrivers, the mini drills, jigsaws, saws if you're sawing the wood, however it is, you're going to need tools. Bear in mind, there's going to be a cost to your tools. I will do another video in the future of what tools I use, because believe it or not, I think my drill cost about 30 quid off Amazon. I used a handsaw for the wood, other than cutting out the side panel where I had my door, which I need a jigsaw for. Again, that was only about 30, 40 quid, something like this. I didn't spend much on tools at all, but just bear in mind, you're going to need tools. That is an additional cost for you. The next thing that you're going to need, material. This is things like not just your equipment that you're going to use, the system, so not just your solar panels, your water tanks, your showers, your taps, your sinks, your cabinets, the floor, everything like this. But you're also going to need screws, brackets, wood, insulation. There's loads of material that you're going to need, and obviously that's going to be your biggest cost. The next thing that you're going to need, once you've got your van, once you've got a place to build it, once you've got the tools, and once you've got the material, you're going to need the know-how. You're going to need to know how to build this. Now, before, in the past, I have been a plumber and I've been an air conditioning engineer. For those who watched my What It's Like to Work with Wankers video, you will know about these experiences. I've never built a camper van before I set out on this journey. I've never done carpentry, I've never done electrics, I've never done the other stuff that you need to build a van. Everything was learnt on YouTube or Google. You can do exactly the same thing. I'm going to teach you certain things, but not all of the things that you need, because to be honest with you, there's a lot of steps throughout this process. I've got another video coming up because I did take pictures of the whole journey that I went through, so you can see step by step. I'm going to give you a full breakdown of the process, but I'm not going to do a video for every single step, because to be honest with you, I can't be asked. There's loads of steps and there's a lot to teach, and a lot of that, I'm going to be frank, you can put in the work yourself. You can just YouTube it, you can Google it, but I will at least teach you every step that you need to know, and then you can go learn it yourself, just like I did. The next step, after you've got the know-how, you are going to need the time. Now, like I said, I was living in London. Well, I was actually living in London for 6 years until I moved out of my apartment. Then the last year and a half, I lived and worked in the van whilst I was working my full-time job, and I built it in the evenings. You're obviously going to need to have a look, assess your situation. I worked very hard. Sometimes I'd get home at 5:30, 6 o'clock. I'd literally work on it till midnight, 1 a.m. At the end of the day, the more effort that you put in, the more results you get out. I wanted to move pretty quickly and start this new life. For me, it took me 18 months. It depends on obviously how complex your build is, what you want in the build. Mine is obviously a full off-grid van, and I wanted that because I didn't want to go to campsites. Obviously took a lot more work and a lot more effort. It depends. Are you a part-time worker? Are you a full-time worker? Are you basically not a worker at all? You have to decide that. You need to look at your time, what you've got going on. Have you got family, kids, all this kind of stuff that are going to be distractions? And then you need to look realistically, how long is this going to take me? I would say on average, throughout an 18-month period, at least 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. I'd work weekends sometimes as well. I was putting in a minimum of 3 to 4 hours every night for 18 months whilst I had a full-time job. That's the next thing on the list. You're going to need the time. Last but not least, number 7. If anything, it's one of the most important and the thing that's going to solidify all of the other points. You are going to need the effort. It sounds obvious, but it's not to some, because some people just think, well, I'll just buy the thing and, oh, don't worry, I'll go out with my mates tonight. Oh yeah, I want to go for that meal. Oh no, I can't be asked to do it tonight. And then before you know it, a year floats by and you've hardly even got the insulation done. I made a lot of sacrifices to complete this build in that 18-month period. I wasn't going out at night, hanging about and all this kind of stuff. Yes, I still had fun in life. I still met my friends at weekends and stuff. But what I'm trying to say to you is, at the end of the day, there is a certain amount of time needed for you to complete this build. You choose how much work and effort that you put in. The more that you put in, the harder you work, the sooner you're going to get to a stage where it's completed, and then you can go traveling the world or whatever else it is that you want to do. And the reason that I say the effort, if anyone's seen my other videos in terms of things that happened to me in London whilst I was building the van, I came off my bike, I dislocated my leg, I couldn't walk for 6 weeks. I broke my hand along the way, so I couldn't use my tools properly. I couldn't climb up the ladders. I had condensation issues. I was getting soaked. I had a leak. So many things happened to me along the way that I could have just quit and thought, screw this is too difficult. But this is why I say you're going to need the effort, because that will allow you the persistency to keep going even when things get difficult. There we go. They are the 7 things that you need to build a van. Now, what I have got coming up for you guys in the magic notepad, if we flick through, I've wrote down, these are all request videos. I did a video on how much it costs to live in Europe, 600 euros for 2 people. I still stand by that, other than the fact that the one thing that I missed out was travel insurance that cost me £19 a month that you can have with your bank. Either way, you're looking at 610 euros to live in Europe. Do the same thing that I did in London for 18 months. People said about fuel, servicing, oils, maintenance, stuff like this. They're absolutely right. But what I would say, that is if you travel in Europe, not live in Europe. But what I have done, I've written down all of the costs, everything, costs per mile, for servicing, for oil, for your brakes, for your cam belts, everything that I have spent, replacement of tyres, getting towed, this kind of stuff. I broke that down fully for you guys, and I'm going to do how much it costs to travel through Europe, how much it's cost me, and then you can calculate, obviously based on where you are going with your journey. Another video, I've got a few requests now to do an electrics video. Obviously, like I said, this is an off-grid van, 650 watts of solar power. It doesn't need to go to campsites. All it needs to happen, the sun needs to come up, even if there's clouds. And for the last odd few billion years, it's been quite reliable at showing itself each day. I've got an electrics video coming up. I'm going to show you what batteries, what the system is, what solar powers, everything basically on the electrics, because that's been a request. A water video. I'm going to become a water boy for the day. A few people have asked what is the water system that we use, so I'm going to show you the tank, the water heater, the electrics that's required, and basically how that distributes all of the water. Another video, waste. Obviously the water needs somewhere to go. I'm going to talk about the waste tank, the traps, the non-return valves, and this kind of stuff that you need, and how you basically empty that. Someone asked me about the gas tank the other day. We've got a full cooker. Basically this van is pretty much like a house. Electric fridge, it's got a full cooker. We can charge our laptops, we can charge our phones, basically everything that you can do at home. I'm teaching you how to build a van like mine. There's obviously many ways that you can build vans, but I'm showing you what I did. And another video, I'm going to show you how to build a camper van. Said I've got the pictures along the way of every single thing that I did along the steps, from insulation, building the kitchen, building the sofa, the bed frames, the electrics, the pipe work, absolutely everything. I'm going to go through. This is going to be a full step-by-step process of how to actually build a camper van. And the last one is what you've just learned today. This is what you need. These are the 7 steps that are required. If you can do that, then I can show you how to build a camper van.